Hello and welcome to my September TBR. So I'm actually participating in the Adventures Through Wonderland readathon throughout the month of September, which is being hosted by Alexandra Rosalind, Kaylin Abridged, JD Ray Reads and How to Train Your Gavin, which is a combination of their two book clubs to create this fun little readathon, and I will link their announcement videos down below. So there'll be an announcement video from each of those four lovely people down in my description box, and you can go there to learn all about the readathon itself and all the prompts and download all the pretty graphics and things like that. So I'm going to be sharing my TBR for that readathon in this video, but first, before I get into that TBR, I just want to show you the few books that I am reading in September that are not, or that I'm hoping to read, that are not part of that particular readathon. So the first one is Permission by Saskia Vogel. This appeared in my recent polyamory book haul. This one is basically poly with BDSM, and it's really quite short, and I just really fancy reading it sooner rather than later, so I've popped it on my TBR for this month. Whether or not I get to it remains to be seen, but I would really like to read this one. Then alongside that, there is the book for my book club, the Thoughtful Book Club, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which is about twins who are black but white passing, and they leave their southern town, and then we fast forward to their adulthood where one of the twins is back living in that southern town and the other twin is living life as a white woman, and somehow their teenage daughter's lives intersect and we have to deal with that. I think that there are flashbacks and things that explain why they decided to leave the southern town in the first place and that kind of thing. It's contemporary literary fiction, I think, for adults, so if you would like to join in the chat for that one, just let me know your Instagram handle down in the comments and I will join you to it. And then I will also be doing a reading challenge in September, as I usually do, hopefully towards the beginning of the month like I usually do, but I'm not going to tell you my TBR for that because, as usual, it is a surprise, although some of you know my TBR already. Sneaky. And yes, that was a hint. So all that remains before we get into the Adventures Through Wonderland TBR is to pick a book from my TBR jar. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've mentioned this in the last couple of my TBRs, but I have quite a large physical TBR video up here. It's probably even longer than that now, if we're being honest with ourselves, and as a way to stop forgetting about some of the books that have been on my TBR for the longest, I have put all of my physical books that I have on, that I haven't read, on little slips of paper in this jar, and every month I will pick just one that I have to read. So let's select that one now. I think I've pulled out two here, so I'll set one of them aside because last time I did this I ended up with something that I couldn't read. Okay, so we have This Time Will Be Different by Misa Suguera, which has been on my TBR since July last year. Okay, I've just been to fetch it. This is my copy of This Time Will Be Different by Misa Suguera. It is a lovely special edition which I got in an Illumicrate box that I bought at Yalk last year, and this one, I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It has Japanese inspirations, which should mean that it should be high on my TBR, but again, the longer something is on my TBR, the less likely I am to pick it up. Not because I'm less interested, but because I'm a magpie and I like things that are shiny and new. So there's essentially two warring families, and our protagonist's family own a flower shop, and they come on hard times, and so they're considering selling the flower shop to these enemies, and our protagonist is not very happy about that, and she wants to save the family business. And I think there's a little bit of a romance between her and one of the members of the other family, so a little bit of Romeo and Juliet type thing in there, but with Japanese inspirations. I think it's possibly a little bit magical realism or surrealism or speculative fiction, one of those, I'm not sure which. And yeah, I'm really happy to read this one. So let's now get into the Adventures Through Wonderland TBR. There are 7 prompts for this particular challenge or readathon, and the first one is Down the Rabbit Hole, read a book set in another world. And for this I have chosen Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. This is the second book in the Trials of Morrigan Crow series, or just, actually I think it's called the Nevermore series, and this is just Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow. And this is sequel to Nevermore, which I read, it was either last Christmas or the Christmas before. I think it must have been last Christmas. It can't have been the Christmas before, surely. I don't know. It was a long time ago, so that's why I wanted to include it on this TBR, because this has been a long time in the waiting. This follows a character named Morrigan Crow who is cursed to die on her 11th birthday? 11th or 13th, I always forget. And she's like cursed, and everything bad that happens in her town is blamed on her because she's cursed. And then her birthday rolls around, but instead of dying, she is whisked away by a man named Jupiter North to Nevermore, and she participates in a trial to get into a prestigious school, a prestigious magical school in fact. And this is the sequel to that story, and I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. The next prompt is Flower Garden, read an aesthetically pleasing book, and for this one I have chosen The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone by Jacqueline Moriarty. And I think that you will agree that this book is stunning. I mean, to be honest, this is a very easy prompt to fulfill, because I feel like middle grade... Oh, I didn't mention, this is a middle grade readathon. You're supposed to read middle grade books. Sorry, I should have mentioned that much earlier. Okay, moving on. So most middle grade books have stunning covers, and this one is no exception, and it sounds really interesting. I think I did actually hear about this one from Lexi, I'm pretty sure. So this is about Bronte Metalstone, who lives with her grandmother? Her aunt. She's been brought up by her aunt because her parents ran away when she was a baby, and she's in the middle of having tea with her aunt when a telegram arrives informing her that her parents have unfortunately died, and they've left some very specific instructions for her in her will, which leads her on some extremely inconvenient adventures by the sounds of things, and it just sounds really fun and whimsical, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. The next prompt is Drink Me, make yourself a cozy reading snack, and this isn't to read any specific book, it's just to have a snack while you're reading one of your books. So I don't think I'll even have to try with this one. At some point I will make a cup of tea and maybe have a biscuit while I'm reading a book. So that one's easy. I'm actually going to talk about the next 2 prompts at the same time. So the next 2 prompts are The White Rabbit's House, pick up a book for a cozy night in, and The Queen of Hearts Palace, pick a book you think you'll love. And the reason I'm mentioning these together is because I actually would like to continue with the Keeper of the Lost Cities series this month. So I've read the first 4 books in that series, and I have the next 4, which are 5 is Lodestar, 6 is Nightfall, 7 is Flashback, and 8 is Legacy. And The next book, book 8.5, is coming out in November. So I will start with, for The White Rabbit's House, book 5, and for The Queen of Hearts Palace I will read book 6, but I might also then end up reading book 7 and 8 because that series always really pulls me in and I always really want to read the next one as soon as I finish one. The problem is I am aware that book 8 ends on a cliffhanger and I don't know if I necessarily want to wait 2 months to find out what's going to happen after that cliffhanger. So I don't know, I might read all 4, I might read 2, I might just read 3, I don't know. That's why I wanted to mention those 2 prompts together and mention all 4 of those books because there is a distinct possibility that I will read all 4 of them, depending on how much self-control I can exercise. The next prompt is Cheshire Cat, read a strange and mysterious book, and for this one I'm picking The Unadoptables by Hannah Took, which I hope is strange and mysterious. If not, I'm pretty sure that The Adventures of Bronte Metalstone will also be pretty mysterious, so I could swap them around because this cover is absolutely stunning as well. And if you think that the dust jacket is stunning, just wait. Just wait. Look at this naked heartback. Look at it. It's beautiful. The only way this book could be any more stunning is if it had sprayed edges. And even then that might just take it too far. So wow. This book is so pretty. And I'm just going to read you the the insert on this one because it's just so much fun. Little Tulip Orphanage. Rules for baby abandonment. Rule 1. The baby should be wrapped in a cotton blanket. Rule 2. The baby should be placed in a wicker basket. And Rule 3. The baby should be deposited on the topmost step. Not once have the rules for baby abandonment been broken. That is until the autumn of 1880, when 5 babies are left in outrageous circumstances. 1 in a toolbox, 1 in a coal bucket, 1 in a picnic hamper, 1 in a wheat sack, and finally 1 in a coffin-shaped basket. Those babies were Lotta, Egg, Fenna, Sem and Milou. And although their cruel matron might think they're unadoptable, they know their individuality is what makes them special, and so determined to stay together. When a most sinister gentleman appears and threatens to tear them apart, the gang makes a daring escape across the frozen canals of Amsterdam. But is their real home and their real family already closer than they realise? Which sounds pretty mysterious to me. So great. And I'm really excited to read it. It sounds so good and it's just so beautiful. Not that that matters, you know? And the final prompt is the group book, and it's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and the prompt really is to join the group live where they discuss the group book, which is The Train to Impossible Places by PG Bell, which I don't have with me yet. I have ordered it and it is on the way. It will be here probably tomorrow, but I wanted to film this video and get it up for you today, so there will be a lovely little picture of it here for you, which is about a train that is a postal delivery train to impossible places, and it comes through our protagonist Susie's living room, and she stows away on board and becomes a deputy postmaster, and her first delivery is to the evil Lady Crepuscula. I hope I'm saying that right. But then the package starts talking to her and begging her not to deliver it. So that one sounds super whimsical and interesting and weird as well. And actually that book does satisfy all of the prompts, as long as you have a snack while you read it at some point. So if you want to participate and you want to just read the one book, then you can do that, but I will let The hosts explain that to you in more detail. While we're on the subject of readathons, in case you missed it, I have created my own readathon called Shadathon. It is Cosmo inspired, but you don't have to be a Sanderson fan to participate. I will link the announcement video just here. It's taking place throughout the month of October, and I would absolutely love it if you would join me. But that is it. That is my TBR for the month of September. It's quite a long TBR, but a lot of it is middle grade fiction, which doesn't take very long to read, hopefully. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye!